Hello, hello. Making Spanish cocido. As you know by now, I used to live in Spain. Like nothing is in focus. Okay, so the real way to make Spanish cocido would be more along the lines of kind of like the chicken pot-au-feu soup, if you see that one. But yeah, with these same ingredients, like cooked in a pot and. More like what you would expect in Europe. This one, it's like the end of the day. I'm about ready to go to bed. This is kind of like the fast version, okay? Okay. So there, I've got the heat on right there. Cauliflower. Mirepoix. Mirepoix we know is carrots, onions, and celery. The base of pretty much any soup. For the other soups I use chicken from the same brand. This is vegetable. We're making this straight vegetarian. I'm using vegetable broth this time, not chicken broth. And garbanzos. They would soak them overnight, soak dried garbanzos overnight, and I cook them. It takes a lot longer if you do it that way. Okay, so in Spain, different areas cook in the. We all know that in Spain they'd have mediodía, then they have these big long naps in the middle of the day. They take like 2 and 3 hour lunch breaks at work instead of a half hour, so they can do that. Well, the most common meal is cocido, which cocido, or with the Mexican accent, cocido. Cocido technically means broth, because sopa means soup, but really they use it like the word soup, so you need to get home and make the soup. Okay, so there I poured some olive oil in there. I'm going to put the mirepoix in. Okay, the mirepoix is in. I'm going to stir it around and get the olive oil coated on everything and saute it. Again, saute means jump in French. So hear it jumping? So we're sauteing it. Okay, you don't necessarily need to cook it. You just need it like mostly cooked like that. Again, different areas in Spain do the cocido different. Some use lentils, lentejas. And I already have one on lentil cocido. This one is garbanzo cocido. And I kind of I like both, but I really learned to like the garbanzo. Garbanzos are good. So now I'm going to throw the broccoli in there. So the way you really would do this is just like when I cook the chicken pot-au-feu soup. I would have a big giant pot, and like a bigger pot, and I would have pieces of chicken with the skin and bones on it. Not like a whole chicken, but just like the legs and like different pieces of chicken, and some pieces of chorizo, the Spanish sausage. Not the same as Mexican chorizo. More like just like our regular sausage, cut into pieces. Like maybe you could, if you wanted to make this like they do in Spain, you could get some turkey kielbasa or some beef kielbasa, cut it in like pieces about that long, and throw those in there, and some chicken legs and chicken thighs and pieces of chicken. Some people will put like a bone and a whole chunk of fat. Tocino. They'll put like a big chunk of fat in there, and a bone in there too. But so I have this all Americanized. It would probably seem like a joke to someone in Spain, but and the cauliflower is just, some people use cauliflower in their soup, their garbanzo cocido. Some don't. I always thought it was a brilliant idea. Okay. Now the garbanzos. Okay, I'm gonna put just a little bit of salt. Not a lot because the broth will be the salt, and some pepper. You know how it is, everything gets salt and pepper on it. Okay, some salt and pepper. Stir that up a bit more. Okay, stir it up. Look at that, it looks delicious. Yum. Now I'm going to put some water in it. See that? Just things will shrink. Just barely enough to submerge everything. See the oil floating in the water? That's good. Is it enough? No, too much of it cooked out. In America it's enough, but in Spain they like lots of oil on top of it, because then when you eat it, you can dip your bread in it. I really learned to appreciate that. It's absolutely delicious when soup has plenty of oil floating on top there. That looks better. It can be overdone, but you don't need to really worry about it too much. Okay. So now I'm going to put in the bouillon. I'm not sure how to do this one hand. There you go, you can see it was like kind of like a moderately heaping tablespoon of it. The vegetable kind's it's not quite as strong as the other kinds. You can add more later, but you can't add less. You actually can, if it's just like really strong, you can drain the juice back, you can drain the broth out. And then, which you lose nutrients if you do that, so it's not preferable. You can kind of drain the broth out and then top it back off with water and then taste it and then just add some more back in, kind of like rebuild it back together again. Okay. There, so now I'm just going to let that boil for the determining factor is going to be the cauliflower. If I get a big piece of cauliflower and it's, you know how you expect cauliflower to be, then it's done. Spanish cocido, garbanzo cocido. It's good stuff, I miss it. So eat it with some bread, very important, pan.